Welcome to the Caregiver Hour on 1250 WINS WHNZ, offering support for those who care for a loved one. A show that cares about you and supports and encourages you, the caregiver. Here's your host, Kim Linder.
Good morning, everyone, and I'm Kim Linder, the host of the Caregiver Hour radio show. Welcome to this fabulous event here at Memorial Hospital of Tampa. And we really are doing something very different today. We're doing the show on location here at the hospital. How lucky we are to have so many wonderful guests. We have an audience full of seniors and elderly people and even young people. So can we say hello, everyone? Hello. And why don't we applaud? That's great. Well, welcome to our show. It's called the Caregiver Hour, if you didn't know. And we are here every week to remind caregivers, our neighbors, our friends, our loved ones, that we do care about them so much that we want to have the information, the resources, and guidance to help make the best decisions for them or with them, partner with our loved ones to help make those decisions. But then we need to go back and circle back and really think about, how do we take care of ourselves? How do we balance ourselves? How do we refuel ourselves? I could see some heads shaking that, yeah, that's an important message, and it is. And that's why we have this radio show every week to help you, remind you, to give you that guidance and that support, to tell you who really is the best doctor for you, or maybe there's 3 best doctors for you, or 3 best home health companies, or 3 different assisted living places for you. Maybe there's alternative ways to take care of yourselves with hypnotherapy, with spirituality. How do we do all of that? We do that here on the radio show to remind you. And so the show is on Mondays at 11 a.m. till noon, but then it's shown again on Saturdays to 5 to 6 p.m. It's on our website. You can always see us live web stream at www.thecaregiverhour.com. So let's talk about today's show. It's about 3 keys to longevity. The mind. The mind. Oh, it's so important. It's the driving force of how we think, how we are, how we look, how we judge, how we make decisions. The body. Oof, that helps us get us where we need to go. That helps us. We need to take care of our body. I've just been doing a gluten-free diet for the last week to help inflammation. And it's just making such a difference in my life. But it's hard. So then I go to my spirit. How do I do that? I stay connected to my spirit. Who's the sense of who I am, how I want to be in this world, how I want to be as a caregiver. I have to make tough decisions. Sometimes I'm tired. Sometimes it's hard. But you always want to be connected to the mind, the body, and the spirit. And in honor of Older Americans Month, this is really a great way to start really thinking about how you want to be. So we have many guests today, but our first 2 guests are Linda Reese, who is just an extraordinary woman here in our community who helps seniors every day, I would have to say, and Cindy Kukus, who is the marketing director here. Both of them are from Memorial Hospital of Tampa. And I want to welcome both of you to the Caregiver Hour radio show.
Well, thank you, Kim.
Well, you're welcome, Miss Linda. How are you doing, Cindy?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited about this and having all these people here today.
Tell me more about your excitement.
Well, I'm especially excited because Memorial Hospital is a place where I'm very passionate about this hospital. I live in this community. I have had jobs here twice. Mm-hmm. This is my 2nd time here and have worked here for many years, and I'm very proud to be out in the community where I live, talking to my friends, my family, neighbors about this hospital and the physicians and the staff and the volunteers that work here that take such good care of everyone.
And for you, Linda, tell me about your journey here.
About 2.5 years ago, the hospital decided to start a senior program, and I was fortunate enough to be accepted here. And in that time, we've grown the program to over 600 members. And when I look out on the audience, I see my friends.
Yes.
And that's the most exciting part and happiness for me.
So tell us about your background, though. I mean, you've been in the senior field for how long?
I've been in the senior field for as long as I can remember.
Okay.
It really has been a very long time.
So it's very natural for you.
It truly is. And, you know, some people I think gravitate more to helping children.
Yes.
And I've always gravitated towards helping older adults. And I feel the most comfortable with them and making sure that they're all happy, making sure that I appreciate them every day, because I do. And I just love every single one of them here in this community.
You know, I can really tell because I've gone to 2 of your events now here for the Senior Advantage program. And I can see how they love you, Linda, and how they really appreciate you. And you have volunteers as well. So how many volunteers do you have?
We have about 65 volunteers right now, and we are always looking for more.
Okay.
So
That's a plug, right?
it truly is.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, good. And tell me some of the programs that you have here for the seniors.
Well, when you talk about the body, mind, and spirit, that's exactly what we do here. A lot of the programs I hold are educational seminars, but that being said, there are also other programs here that we run for Tai Chi, for example, for
Wow.
exercise. And then I also invite other speakers in to talk about that spiritual piece, because it is so important, and it's certainly part of the holistic person.
Yes. We do talk about the holistic person here on the radio show as well. And when we say holistic, we're really looking at the whole person. It's not just your mind is separate from your body and separate from your spirit. It's also about how it's all integrated together. And when Linda talks about that piece, she's really bringing her spirit here every day. That's really what I see. Because to be so committed to bringing powerful programs to help inform older Americans, older citizens, that is so rich. So often people feel that seniors or elderly, when they go into nursing homes, that they're forgotten. And you're saying that's not true. We know who you are. Linda knows her seniors by their first name. And she greets them so beautifully. So if you are a senior and this is something that you're interested in doing, this is the perfect way to rejuvenate yourself, to recharge yourself as a caregiver. It all fits in perfectly. So again, I really want you to understand why we're here today, why it comes together. If you are an elderly person taking care of someone, you want to be a part of what happens here at Memorial Hospital. That's what I'm saying. This is a great way to have someone maybe come and take care of your loved one so you can take a break and get recharged and meet some people. Didn't you tell me that there's a lot of people who have friends here?
They do. They came in here alone, not knowing anybody, and when they come to any of our programs, instead of just walking in and sitting down by themselves, they look for a friend. They look for someone they've met here, and that just warms my heart more than I can say.
Yep.
And then that being said, also that caregiving piece comes into it, because whether you're single or a couple or who you are, you come here and you meet other people that are similar to yourself, and you can help each other. And that's what it's all about.
So if you are a caregiver and you need a break, we call that respite care. And it can be short term, it could be an hour, 2 hours, it could be a week, a month, whatever you need. We have services here. We have sponsors here today who provide those services. So it can be in your home, it could be in assisted living. So we really hope that you will take the time after our show today, when we have our break, that you will go around and meet with each of our sponsors who we're so grateful that they're here today. I want to talk a little about the hospital, Cindy, and then we're going to talk about the rest of the show.
Sure. I'd be glad to. I'll try to be brief because I can talk a lot about the hospital. But Memorial, for some of you who don't know, we've been in this community for over 40 years serving South Tampa. We've got an exemplary medical staff, highly skilled, caring employees and volunteers and a team that really takes care and likes to feel like they're the neighborhood hospital that takes good care of the neighbors. I recently received a letter from someone who had spent some time in our emergency room and ultimately was admitted to the hospital, and she told me, you truly are a neighborhood hospital. From the housekeeper to the nurse to the physician, everybody made me feel like they cared and that they were happy I was here, and everybody seemed like a family. That's something I believe we have above and beyond any of the other facilities in this area. We are a 183-bed hospital. We have full comprehensive services and well-trained, well-qualified staff, easy to get to. I just can't go on and say enough about all the things we can do here. And as part of our community services, we like to introduce our physicians to the community. Their response when they come is usually, I didn't know you guys did all of this here at Memorial Hospital.
Cindy, that's perfect, and we will be able to talk about that more during our presentation today. We have so many great guests coming today. Dr. Susan Steen, Neurology at Tampa General, Okay. Today, our guests are Dr. Susan Steen, Neurology at Memorial Hospital of Tampa, Dr. Jim Concotelli, who is Senior Director of Optimal Life and Executive Director of the Institute of Optimal Aging at Brookdale Senior Living. And I know that's a mouthful, but he's so worth it, so it's going to be great. And then Dr. Albert Tawil, Geriatrics at Memorial Hospital of Tampa. So you could see how we brought this great show together for you. I'm Kim Linder. You're listening to the Caregiver Hour on 1250 WINS WHNZ.
An overwhelming and stressful experience. Aston Gardens, Tampa Bay's premier senior living community, is excited to be able to support those who care for others. Please join them the third Thursdays of the month at 5:30 p.m. to learn creative problem-solving techniques and caregiving ideas from others who have been in your shoes. Aston Gardens specializes in independent living, assisted living, and memory care. Chosen for the third year in a row by the U.S. Commerce Association for the Best of Tampa Bay Award in residential care. Call 813-855-2811 or visit AstonGardens.com for more info.
Injured in a car accident or suffering from back and joint pain for a while? Clearly, you need to see a doctor. Call Dr. Ben, a chiropractor with 25 years experience. He listens, he cares, he gets results. His common sense approach? Coaching patients to be self-sufficient and less doctor-dependent. Let's face it, there are many things you can do to improve your health. Call Dr. Ben at 727-488-8044. Mention the Caregiver Hour radio show for a free examination. 727-488-8044. Dr. Ben, your coach to better health. 727-488-8044.
St. Joseph's John Knox Village of Tampa Bay, Tampa's premier retirement community, is part of the Bay Care Health System. John Knox Village is known for its successful aging lifestyle, along with spacious apartments. John Knox Village offers a wide range of activities to fill one's life spiritually, physically, mentally, educationally, and nutritionally. In addition, every level of care is available to meet the needs of the aging population. John Knox Village, comfortable, casual, and secure for life. To schedule a tour, call 1-800-272-5669.
Caregiving has gotten harder and more complicated, even as families have more and more demands on their time. That's why AARP is here to help caregivers with the tools, information, and support they need to care for their loved ones and themselves. Check out aarp.org/caregiving to connect with other caregivers like yourself and find the resources you need. Visit the AARP Caregiver Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
Caregivers, are you worried about mom or dad needing more care? How do you know when it's time to get help? Since 2004, Harmony Home Health has helped seniors in Tampa Bay find joy in their journey. You'd be amazed at how just a little bit of care can go a very long way. From just once in a while to every day of the week, your loved ones experience independence, safety, and dignity wherever they call home, and your whole family experiences harmony. With Harmony Home Health, you are not alone. You can trust their family to take care of yours. Call 727-723-7532 or visit their website at harmonyhh.com/Kim.
It's the Caregiver Hour on 1250 WINS WHNZ with encouragement, guidance, and support for caregivers. Here's your host, Kim Linder.
Hello, I'm Kim Linder, your host of the Caregiver Hour radio show. And if you just tuned in, we're talking about a really great topic today, the 3 keys to longevity: your mind, your body, and your spirit. And we're so happy that you have tuned in today. And I did want to say one other thing as I'm doing this show today live here at Memorial Hospital of Tampa, that I have a helpline for caregivers. So caregivers sometimes have emergency and crises, not necessarily 9 to 5. They have them on the weekends. And I have this 24/7 helpline, and I want to give you that number because you may want to write it down. It's 1-877-552-4950. And I will tell you that family members from all over the world call me because they have someone living in Florida and they're not sure what to do. And we are here to help you 24/7. Again, that toll-free number is 1-877-552-4950. I want to return to the show because we've got a special guest today, Dr. Susan Steen. So, Dr. Steen, welcome to the Caregiver Hour radio show.
Thank you, Kim. I'm happy to be here.
I know. Well, we're so thrilled. I know you just had a wonderful trip away.
I did.
Tell us a little about it.
Well, I was in Israel for a little over a week. It was very interesting.
Yes, and what did you learn?
Well, I saw a lot of ancient, historical, biblical, and archaeological sites and got to meet different kinds of people and understand how life is very different there than it is for us.
Yeah. So we are thrilled that the timing was perfect for you to be on the show today. And can you tell us about your practice and why you do what you do?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So I'm a general neurologist. I've been a general neurologist for about 31 years here in Tampa, where I grew up. I'm with a group, Tampa Neurology Associates, and my interest is in what we call cognitive neurology, or what we used to call behavioral neurology. Although I'm a general neurologist, I see everything from multiple sclerosis to stroke to brain tumors, and Lou Gehrig's disease, and so forth.
And Parkinson's too?
And Parkinson's disease, other movement disorders. But I'm very interested in how people are able or unable to process information, and in memory disorders.
Well, I know that there's someone here in our audience today who has Parkinson's, and I know that she has a question for you. So we're going to talk about that after the show. So just let you know that she's here, and I'm trying to take care of her.
Terrific.
Tell us about normal aging and how that's significant in how we live our lives.
Sure. So one of the things that people are concerned about is, what about my memory?
Yes.
Is that a problem, or is it not a problem? And it is true that all of us over the age of 50, I would say, have trouble remembering things. And that's normal. That's what we call normal aging. And usually that's remembering the names of things, like the names of movie stars, even the names of people we know, the names of restaurants, and so forth. And after a while, though, maybe a few minutes, maybe longer, that name will come back. And that's totally normal. It's a processing speed kind of.
So we just need time to process. That's all that is. It's a pause.
And if we become anxious, or if we're overwhelmed, or our plate is too full, then things may become more apparent.
Right. Like I bumped into someone today, and she said, "Oh, Kim, I remember you from," and I could not get the connection right away.
Right.
And when we separated, she walked one way, I walked another. I was like, "Oh, I got it," but it took a little time for it to come back.
Normal.
So I'm normal. Okay. Wow. Woo! That feels so good. So I passed the test.
You did.
Okay. But what about the people that it goes past that? How does that, and tell us about the research.
Okay. So I want to talk about a definition of a term that we call dementia. Okay?
Yes.
So dementia means that people have lost the cognitive ability, or the problem-solving ability, or the memory ability to be able to do what they used to be able to do. And there are various degrees of dementia. Sometimes the problems are very mild, and sometimes that can be a progressive problem where things can get much worse. And so the question that people come to me with is, are my memory complaints normal?
Right.
Or are they something that I need to worry about? Is this something that could progress to something more serious that may affect my life and the life of my family?
Right. That's a good question. So how do you handle that?
So what we do is we start with an interview. We ask, why are they concerned? What kind of things are they having trouble with? And a lot of that information also needs to come from their family or people that love them, because sometimes family and others observe things that other people don't observe themselves. So the history is very, very important and critical in trying to decide if we need to pursue with some sort of a workup.
So what happens at your office when they come to see you and after the interview?
Okay, so part of the interview is reviewing what's happened in their past medical history. Particularly very important is what kind of medications they're on.
Right.
Could they have some kind of a physiological, and Dr. Tawil will talk more about this, could they be having a thyroid problems
Right.
or a vitamin deficiency or uncontrolled hypertension or something else that could be contributing to their complaints? Could they have had a stroke? And so the story then leads on to some sort of a physical evaluation and a neurologic evaluation. And then we make decisions as to whether or not we need to do any particular tests. Those tests usually begin with simple things like, of course, measuring vital signs, which is part of the physical exam, but laboratory tests.
Okay.
Looking at a metabolic profile, thyroid studies, vitamin levels, vitamin D levels. Could the person have sleep apnea? Do we need a sleep study? Because people who are chronically sleep deprived may have cognitive complaints. Part of that workup usually includes a brain imaging study, either a CAT scan or an MRI scan, depending on the person and what they can tolerate and whether or not they can go in a certain machine or not. So we want to see a picture of the brain to see, has there been evidence of a critical stroke? Is there hydrocephalus? Is there evidence of trauma? Is there atrophy or shrinkage of certain parts of the brain that could make us concerned that there's a degenerative process?
So what I like is that you really do take people by the hand and guide them.
Right.
And what I'm hearing is that you also have a variety of ways of finding out what is going on with each patient.
Absolutely. Each patient is different.
Right. And it's reassuring to know that it may not just be our mind, it may actually be something physical that's happening for us, correct?
It could be something that can be corrected.
Corrected. So I encourage you then to make an appointment with Dr. Steen if you have some questions about your memory. And isn't that right?
Yes, but it's not just me. I mean, many of your own physicians are very interested in this and will be able to guide you. And it may be a combination of medications that people are on. It may be something very simple. It may be depression that could be causing problems with people's ability to accumulate information and think clearly.
I thought the sleep was also very interesting. A lack of sleep, and for caregivers, that happens so often. They're not sleeping through the night,
That's a problem.
and then they're tired, and then their memory is affected. And you uncover that during the interview or the conversation you have with them, I would think.
Yes, and I think that's a very good point, because while we may be addressing the majority of our attention on the patient,
Right.
the caregiver many times needs to be a patient too.
Yes.
Because they are very, if not the most important, critical member of this whole team with caregiver, care provider, or physician, and patient. And the caregiver, as you know, may suffer from depression,
Yes.
from physical illness, from sleep deprivation. So we need to pay attention to that person.
So I have to tell you, the energy just popped for me when we said that together, because it was like an aha moment.
Right.
Because you're talking from your place, I'm talking from mine, and all of a sudden it was like, wow, we really do need to work together, because the caregiver is so often forgotten because we always focus on the person who needs the care.
Right.
Do you see how that just happened? And how we can all really work together when you are working with families in your... I'm sitting here with professional caregivers who focus on the person who needs the care, because that's how you came to a doctor's office, or that's how you had home care company come into your home, or home health. But you also want to look at the whole picture. That holistic piece comes together. The mind, the body, the spirit, that family. It's not just the patient. It's who else is in their lives who's also being affected by the illness. That's why we're having this show live here today at Memorial Hospital of Tampa. And we're so grateful. And you see how innovative they are that they did this. And to have Dr. Steen here, it's just been a gift. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we have so much more happening during this show today, so I hope that you will stay tuned. I want to say hello to my audience. So what does my audience say hello to me? Hello. And let's applaud Dr. Steen. She did a great job. We have more to come, so stay with us. I'm Kim Linter, your host on the Caregiver Hour on 1250 WINS WHNZ.
Welcome to Air Ambulance Worldwide, a leader in the medical transfer industry. If you need to move a loved one anywhere in the world, we can help. You can reach our knowledgeable flight coordinators 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From the moment we receive your call, We'll plan and oversee every step of your patient's transfer, including ground ambulance in the departure and arrival city, private aircraft, and a personalized team of medical staff to travel alongside your patient until they arrive safely at their final destination. All members of our medical staff have at least 5 years of ICU and CCU experience.
Patient care and safety is always the number one concern at Air Ambulance Worldwide. Our customer service is exceptional. Our affiliate, Air Gato Enterprises, manages our aircraft. Air Gato is an Argus Gold safety-rated company. Air Ambulance Worldwide is URAMI accredited. That accreditation says that both our medical protocols and our safety record in aviation is exceptional.
Air Ambulance Worldwide's flagship aircraft is the extraordinary Piaggio P180, which provides the very best cabin environment available for your patient's care. The interior is 50% larger than a Learjet 35, so there is ample room to work closely with the patient. With a stand-up cabin, it can carry 3 passengers, 3 large suitcases, a wheelchair, and has an enclosed lavatory.
As a company, we understand the sensitive nature of this time. We work hard to take away as much of that burden as we can, so our clients can focus on their loved ones' needs. For example, if they have private insurance, we'll confirm benefits, submit, and track the claim to closure.
If you need to get a loved one across the state or around the world, Air Ambulance Worldwide has the experience to complete the mission safely. All of this with the finest aircraft and medical teams in the industry, you can rest assured you are in trusted hands. Call us today, toll free at 877-922-9675 or direct at 727-781-1198.
Welcome to the Caregiver Hour on 1250 WINS WHNZ, offering support for those who care for a loved one. A show that cares about you and supports and encourages you, the caregiver. Here's your host, Kim Linder.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Caregiver Hour radio show. If you just tuned in, you tuned to a fabulous show, and you'll want to watch the whole thing on our website. We're live web stream now, and you can see it on our website, thecaregiverhour.com. You also have the ability to watch any show. We have a library or an archive of all of our shows, and you're welcome to them anytime. They tell you, maybe we give you 3 reasons why you want to listen to a particular show. Maybe there was something in the past that we did, and you're like, oh, I have to listen to this guest. We're on every Monday from 11 a.m. till noon, but now we're also on Saturdays from 5 to 6 p.m. We are doing a fabulous show here at Memorial Hospital of Tampa, so I want to welcome all of our guests. So, audience, say hello. Hello. And why don't we applaud? Yay! I am very grateful for all of our sponsors today and every day, and also for all of our seniors here that are with us today, and all of our professional caregivers too. So thank you for being here on this special show. We are doing things now out on location in the community to show you that it's so important that we get the message out to everyone, that caregiving is an opportunity to create balance in your life. It's a time for you to maybe do journaling as a caregiver, maybe write a book as a caregiver, maybe be kind to someone just because they're a caregiver. This show is here to remind you that it's so important for you to take care of yourself as you are taking care of others, to have the information, the resources, and the guidance on how to be a fabulous caregiver. And this show is about the 3 keys to longevity: the mind, the body, and the spirit. And we're so privileged to have Dr. Albert Tawil here today. So, Dr. Tawil, how are you?
I'm fine.
And welcome to the Caregiver Hour.
Well, I'm more than glad to be here, and I thank you for the honor and privilege of having me.
Well, it's very mutual. Thank you so much. Tell us about your practice, because you're talking about the body.
Well, I'm a family doctor. I do specialize in geriatrics, and I've had at least almost 50 years experience in the field. I presently am board certified in geriatrics. I'm proud of it because there aren't enough of us, to be
Right.
very honest with you. Maybe it's because they don't want to take the exam.
You just took the exam over, it's a grind.
Put about 10 years on my life.
Yeah. Well, you look terrific.
Well, thank you.
I was at your office on Friday, and it was busy. I mean, people are coming to see Dr. Tawil. You must do something right.
Well, I guess I'm lucky. I take care of a lot of Medicare patients. I'm used to it. I'm used to what they want and what they don't want. I'm used to trying to read into what they tell me, and the difference between what they say and what the caregiver says is a big difference.
Let's talk about that caregiver for a moment. What is the caregiver saying to you these days?
The caregiver gives us the truth. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't want to tell us what's wrong.
Right.
They tell us everything but what is wrong.
Right.
They give us all the subtle complaints, and sometimes the real truth and the real problem is hidden, and the caregiver will come up with a key word or a key plan.
Okay.
That helps matters considerably.
So, do you have an example of how that happens? Because I have to tell you, we know in the senior living field that seniors are very clever, and they really get themselves put together when they go to the doctors, and they say everything is fine, and then they want the doctor to leave the room, and they think, oh, well, I went to my doctor.
That's true.
I hear some giggling in the audience, so I know it's true.
I mean, you have somebody give you a good story about how well they're doing and so on and so forth, and the caregiver will say, Doc, before we leave, I think we better tell you that he lost 10 pounds in the last month.
Okay.
Right. So here it goes all over again. Mm-hmm. And then there are those who can speak for themselves, and they'll tell you everything, and as you go for the door handle,
yes,
bang, out it comes.
Right.
I had chest pain. I fell to the floor last week, but I really didn't want to tell you about it until now.
Okay.
Whoa.
I get it. Okay.
I think you do.
All right. So, So for caregivers, why don't you give us some tips
Well,
when we're going to the doctor with someone, or even for ourselves? What should we be saying?
Well, why are we here?
Why are we here?
Now, what's to be accomplished in this visit? And let's bring in the medicines with us, because the doctor doesn't know what we're taking half the time.
Okay. Really great tip.
I used to have an old saying, any similarity between what is prescribed and what they take is a coincidence. Seriously.
Oh, my. There is a big gap with that.
Oh.
And you help close the gap.
My goodness.
So bring the meds with you. All of them, even the vitamins, I would think, and the supplements.
We could open a health food store with what they bring in. I mean, it's really amazes me, because we will prescribe something and, oh my goodness, I read the side effects. We went online, we found this, we found that. This could kill us, this statin. In the meantime, here's what I'm taking: witch's claw, devil's whatever, horns. And they get this stuff, and I say, well, my health food person told me it was the best, not to worry, Well, I guess that's why you've had diarrhea for a month.
Right. I think the crowd loves you.
I could never make this up. I want you to know that. This has to be from real life. It's an everyday occurrence.
I'm sure it is, but you're really saying the truth, and it's making us laugh, because we know this is how we are. So we need to bring the meds. I think that was really so powerful, that one tip. Anything else?
Well, what else can I tell you? I mean, you have to look at the motive. Sometimes we have people who are truly dedicated to helping, and there are others who are just there and shouldn't be there.
Right.
When are we going to get out of here? And my bus leaves in 20 minutes.
Right.
And so on. If the office visit runs another 5 minutes, you can see them looking at their watch every minute, because they can't wait to get out of there. I had to bring my mother-in-law, but I hate her.
Right. Well,
it sounds terrible, but it's
the
true.
truth.
I mean, I can't believe it.
Right.
And last but not least, the cost factor. The insurance company says, I can have this. Well, do you think they really care what happens to you? No, they don't. They want to figure out how they can get the best price on the cheapest medicine. And that's not always the best thing for the patient.
Okay.
And if I at least leave you with one message, be empowered. Pick out your medicines. If you have to pay for them, to whoever's in charge of your finance, look, pay for them. That's what the doctor wants me to have. And I'd like to be around next year.
That's a really great tip. I have to tell you, you've brought a lot of light to a very heavy topic. It's a topic that we all know here in the senior living field, working with seniors, that, you can sometimes be really tough. And sometimes it is a struggle to go to these appointments because you want your loved one to get the best care. But if they don't really tell the doctor what is happening for you as the patient, then you need to write it down. Keep a journal. This is your moment of truth. We talked about how to be, the mind, the body, and the spirit. Coming to see Dr. Tawil or going to your physician, you want to feel empowered. You want to live an optimal life. It's not living fair. It's not living good. It's living optimally. And that's why we have Dr. Tawil here today, because he's telling you the truth. It's hard. If you're going there with your daughter or with your son or with your spouse or with your brother, you want to have the time to talk to the doctor and tell them the truth. It's hard to tell the truth because you don't know what it's going to lead to. Our fear overcomes us, Dr. Tawil. But you're saying you've got to get past the fear and really have this honest conversation with you before your hand is on the knob of the door leaving. Oh, by the way, I've got the chest pains. That should be one of the top 3 things you say when you see Dr. Tawil.
That's true. And the other thing I want to stress is you have to take care of your body. I mean, it's like a car. If you don't run a car for a month, what happens to the car? Same is true. I see people in wheelchairs. Well, do you do anything? No, I sit in the wheelchair. Well, then you can sort of plot the decline as it comes. Mm-hmm. And not to talk low of motorized vehicles, but whenever I see one of those go by, I figure the clock is ticking.
Wow.
It's sad because here in America we don't walk. If you go to Holland, you see people in their 80s and 90s on bicycles.
Right.
They're exercising every day, one way or another. And it's really important. 20 to 25 minutes, 3 times a week can keep you out of the doctor's office.
Wow.
Think of the money you'll save.
Well, that makes so much sense because you said they want to save money on prescriptions. They could save money on doctor bills by taking care of yourself.
Absolutely.
So let's say that again. What kind of exercise do you want them to do for 20 to 25 minutes a day?
A combination of aerobic and muscle building. And I mean light weights, anything. I've seen people with 3-pound weights in their wheelchairs just doing it. It helps.
Yep.
Every time you move, you live a little longer. And there we have 20% differences in longevity. And not only that, it's the way you live.
Yes.
If you can help yourself, it's better than 10 people trying to help you.
Wow. That's such a great message.
Difference.
Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to say to our listeners and our viewers, Dr. Tawil?
Well, just be responsible for yourselves. I mean, have some knowledge about what you're doing. You don't have to ride the internet, but use some reasonable common sense. Usually you don't need 20 prescriptions to get you through. Try to figure out what's essential, what isn't. In America, it's a pill for every ill. Try to cut down with what you absolutely have to have, what's meaningful to you, what keeps your life better, and try to avoid dependency. Dependency is the worst thing in the world. I don't know if I made my point with that, but believe me, there's nothing worse than someone who can't or won't do anything for themselves. It's why even in the nursing home, they get them up there to the little feeding areas and they watch them eat, and nobody's going to feed them because it's too dangerous to feed them.
Mm-hmm.
I think I made a small point.
Okay, that sounds great. Dr. Tawil, thank you so much for being our guest today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure.
I hope I've helped.
You have, and it was great meeting you. I want you to stay with us. We've got more happening here on the Caregiver Hour. I'm Kim Linder, 1250 WINS WHNZ.
Experience bladder control problems. Here's important news.
For more than 5 years now, the nice ladies at the Caregiver Partnership have taken the time to understand my needs, suggest the best choices of bladder control products for me, and always get the right product delivered to my door fast and with free shipping.
To get started, simply call 800-985-1353 for your free catalog and $60 in coupons. Many people just like you trust the Caregiver Partnership for convenient home delivery of bladder control products, and they have more more than 500 to choose from. Call now. The call is free, shipping is free, and your satisfaction is guaranteed.
The Caregiver Partnership treats me like family and really knows their stuff. And they keep my business private.
Call 1-800-985-1353 now to receive your free catalog with $60 in coupons. That's 1-800-985-1353. Call now. The voice in the preceding advertisement is not the voice of an actual customer.
I'm Mike Lavoie with Beacon Asset Management. While 30 years of experience in financial services may have prepared me to be a certified financial planner, no amount of planning could have prepared me for the stress of being a caregiver. The financial planning my dad and I did when my mother became ill made caring for her bearable. At Beacon, we are committed to helping you take care of your financial needs so you can take care of your loved ones. Give us a call at 813-269-0732. 813-269-0732.
Your home is where you feel relaxed, safe, and secure. Arcadia Home Care understands that you want to maintain that freedom and independence, even though you may be recuperating from an injury, illness, or simply require a little support with daily activities of living. You create a plan for your life as you envision it, and you can rest assured Arcadia will provide companionship, personal care, housekeeping, shopping, and errands, or whatever you need. They deliver their services with compassion, dependability, and professionalism. Their caregivers are screened, bonded, and insured, and must meet rigorous hiring standards, so you are confident you're receiving the best care possible for you or your loved one. Visit ArcadiaHomeCare.com or call St. Petersburg at 727-579-9414 to schedule your free in-home assessment and learn how Arcadia can enhance your quality of life while helping you stay at home and healthier longer. Call Arcadia Home Care, 727-579-9414, providing quality services since 1978.
Caring for an elderly parent or a loved one with special needs can be challenging, stressful, and frustrating. If you need help finding the best professionals in the field of home care, legal advice, integrated practitioners, respite care, or a great support group, call the Caregiver Helpline at 1-877-552-4950. That's 1-877-552-4950. It's a free service provided by the Caregiver Resource Network. Call 1-877-552-4950 or go to thecaregiverhour.com. Hi, it's Kim Linder from the Caregiver Hour. I want to tell you about an attorney in Clearwater that I have known for over 7 years. His name is Bill Rambam, and I have referred many families to him for his legal expertise. Bill is one of less than 100 attorneys to be evaluated by the Florida Bar and become certified as a specialist in elder law. His 30 years of experience and impeccable credentials make him one of the most highly regarded legal experts in our area. Give Bill a call today at 727-781-5357 or visit RambamLaw.com. Non-attorney spokesperson.
Welcome to the Caregiver Hour on 1250 WINS WHNZ, offering support for those who care for a loved one. A show that cares about you and supports and encourages you, the caregiver. Here's your host, Kim Linder.
So we're thrilled to be here at Memorial Hospital of Tampa, and we want to thank again Linda Reese and Cindy Kukos to have us here as doing it live here on this radio show here at the hospital. How innovative that is to think that we want to do a radio show here at the hospital and bring all of these wonderful seniors. So why don't we say hello to all of you? And thank you so much for being here. I had mentioned so many of our sponsors, and I did forget one very special one, and we want to thank Arden Courts here in the Tampa Bay area to being our sponsor as well. So let's get the show continued, because we just had Dr. Steen on to talk about the mind. We've had Dr. Tawil to talk about the body. It is time that we talk about the spirit, and I am so thrilled to have Dr. Jim Concotelli here. And Dr. Jim Concotelli, you are here with Brookdale Senior Living and also with Optimal Health Institute. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. I work for Brookdale Senior Living, and part of Brookdale, we own and manage 650 retirement communities across the country, and we also have a not-for-profit research and education component of the company, and that's the Institute for Optimal Aging.
Okay. Well, tell us a little more about that, because that's very interesting.
Yeah, it's really part of the way that we feel feel there's a purpose in our work is not only within our communities, but the broader aspects of aging to really help, throughout the country to do cutting edge research on programming and product development and all the different aspects of how we can support older adults aging in place or aging in communities that we have.
Well, we've had 3 powerful speakers here today and guests on this radio show, and it shows a great sense of innovation that's happening here in Florida, and how fortunate that we are having it here at this hospital, Memorial Hospital of Tampa, that they brought it all together. And I know that you do presentations here.
Yes, I've been very fortunate to be invited to speak a couple of times here to the Senior Advantage Group and to the volunteer group. So Linda Reese has invited me, and I've enjoyed those presentations.
So tell us a little more about what you do when you're out there speaking. What is happening? Tell us the latest and the greatest.
Well, my focus is usually on the basics and really on the practical components of what we can do every day to keep ourselves healthy. We focus, as you're doing in this show, on more of a mind, body, spirit model.
Mm-hmm.
So we utilize a model that has 6 dimensions of wellness, and you could tie the body, mind, spirit into that model. And so, the cutting edge research, if you really look at what people would say about what are the things that I can do to keep myself healthy and to aging well,
yes,
you would look at behaviors within each of those 6 dimensions. Or if we were to look at body, mind, spirit, our last guest talked about exercise, and that's one thing that's very, very important. Keep your body moving. And earlier, our guest talked about your mind and the neurology of aging and how important it is to keep your mind active and engaged. Those are important components of aging well.
So you're bringing this all together for us, because the mind, the body, and the spirit. And how would you define spirituality, and what role does religion play in that? Because sometimes when people are tuning in or I'm doing presentations out in the community, they always want to know, what does that mean exactly?
Yeah, there is, I think of spirituality as kind of a broader aspect. We're all spiritual beings in our physical body is the way that I look at it. And I think we all have an innate interest in finding meaning and purpose in our life. And I think that the religious component of that is one aspect of it. So, usually your religion is your traditions or your beliefs. You usually practice that with a group of people that have similar interests and beliefs. But spirituality is a little bit broader, and there's more opportunities to kind of explore other cultures, other philosophies, other practices, and then augment that with your usual religious practices.
So you've listened to this whole show today, and we're in a room full of wonderful seniors and people of really different ages, or people who are working with seniors. And even as professional caregivers, we always want to know, how do we enhance the life of the person in front of us and their caregiver? So can you help us have some tips or some ideas of how we can do that?
Well, first of all, I say thank you. Thank you to all of you that are caregivers. And I think we had a little discussion before. When you think about caregivers, Rosalind Carter was the first one that really was a national political figure to bring it kind of to the forefront of the media. And she said, we're all either caregivers now, receiving caregiving, or going to be receiving caregiving, or going to be giving caregiving. So that's all of us. We're all really in that, kind of definition.
And sometimes it's more than one time in your life.
Oh, well, definitely. And if you think about someone like we hear the sandwich generation.
Yes.
They're at home and they're taking care of their children, and they have aging adults. And so they're caregiving on both spectrums of kind of the aging process, if you will.
Okay, so we were talking about how to bring meaning into our lives. Help us with that, because the spirituality is definitely a part of that.
Yeah, I don't think that, I think most people that are doing caregiving would say that that is the most meaningful thing they could do in their lives. Both of my parents needed caregiving at the end of their lives, and I will say that I was blessed with just phenomenal opportunities to be close to them at the end of their lives, and I wouldn't give that up for anything. There were struggles with it. There were difficulties. There's family issues and sibling issues that re-arise. But as you get to the other side and you really look back at what you learned and what you shared, it's some of the most meaningful moments that I had in my life. And so I think we really need to keep that perspective, and that's kind of a spiritual perspective. Take the larger perspective, although there's the challenges of every day, and we really want to look at within the challenge, how do we find gratitude? How do we find happiness? How do we find the really component of that keeps us going every day to continue to do what we love to do, taking care of our loved ones?
That was powerful and meaningful, and which really brings us to stress. I mean, you were talking about every day we give caregivers, family caregivers. I don't know about you, Jim, but when I was caregiving for my mother-in-law and father-in-law, 150% every second of every day. My whole breath and being was devoted to them. I was stressed out. How do we help our caregivers feel less stress?
It's a great point. There is a lot of stress involved in it, and that's why, we need to really acknowledge the challenges of it. And what can we do for ourselves about that? Well, there's a saying, if any of you that fly on airplanes, take your oxygen first. So if you're with someone that needs some assistance, take your oxygen first so that you're available to be present and to help that person. That's the first thing I'd say, is take some time to take care of yourself first.
Okay. Does everyone hear that? All my listeners and viewers and audience participations, the doctor in the house is saying take care of yourself. He's not saying take care of yourself and only yourself, but put it in the mix, and that's really the purpose of this show. And we have about 2 more minutes.
Well, and I think the other, talk about stress. I mean, it's, the most common stress management techniques are to go for a walk, to utilize your social support. Very important in caregiving, not to isolate yourself, to reach out, to ask for help, to really be able to accept help. That's often another challenge. Utilizing breathing and relaxation techniques, prayer, meditation, those are all very powerful and very supportive techniques to help you lower your stress level, to kind of bring yourself down, bring yourself into more of a mindful place so that you're present with yourself and then can be present with another person. So it's always, you want your glass to be full. When your glass gets half full, you can only be half as good a caregiver as you could be if your glass is full. So you need to regenerate, take time for yourself, keep your glass full, and you can do that through a variety of spiritual practices or religious practices, and that way you can be the best caregiver that you can be for your loved ones.
I love that message. How wonderful. Didn't you love that? Yeah. I had to call you Dr. Jim. I don't know why. Yeah. Is that okay? I guess I'm not the only one, because there's something very approachable about you. And if someone wants to be in touch with you, how do they do that?
Well, I think that, Linda has my contact information for the group here. And so if someone would like to contact me via email or telephone, I'd be available through that contact information.
And Linda Reese would have all the information of all of our guests if you are looking for how to get in touch with Dr. Tawil and also Dr. Steen. Susan Reese is your connection to all of these doctors and to all the wonderful programs that they offer here at Memorial Hospital of Tampa. So we want to really just thank all of our guests, and we want to especially thank Linda Reese, who has been really a star here in our hearts, and thank her for really bringing this whole event and this show to all of you. And Memorial Hospital of Tampa is your neighborhood hospital. It's here for you 24/7. And Cindy Kukos, who is the marketing director, had really explained that at the beginning of the show. So if you want to hear the whole show, you want to go back to the very beginning because you missed so many great things. But if you want to share it also with a friend or a caregiver, you just do that. You can just tell them they can go to thecaregiverhour.com. Again, we're here every Monday from 11 a.m. till noon. And we have, again, our show on Saturdays from 5 to 6 p.m. We are here every Monday, so we want to be here for you and remind you that you are so important. If you're a family caregiver, a friend caregiver, or even a professional caregiver, your glass has to be full in order to give to others. I am so thrilled to be here every Monday, and I am now going to thank Dr. Jim. And I'm going to thank Dr. Susan Steen and Dr. Tawil. I'm Kim Linder, your host of the Caregiver Hour, every Monday from 11 a.m. till noon on 1250 a.m. WHNZ.